Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of Sit Downs with Charlie Brown. I'm your host, DJ Charlie Brown, or Charlie Groebner, or whatever you choose to call me. And if you can't tell, bit of a new setup. Have some, as you can tell, Joe now has a microphone who you can actually hear now, because I know that was what some people were saying was an issue. They couldn't hear Joe because they want to hear what you have to say, bro. So yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, and if that means since you are back, that means it is the halfway point of the NHL season. Currently, right now, for those who haven't been keeping up, the instead of the All Star game this year, they have been doing the Four Nations tournament. Which I wanted your thoughts on that, because so far there have been two games played so far. Canada beat Sweden in overtime, and then last night the U.S. routed Finland. What have your thoughts been so far on the tournament?
Pretty good. I think it's different from the All Star game, and they just needed to do something different.
Yeah, and plus I feel like a big thing is I feel like it's a good trial run for the games next year, because I feel like it's hard to say. Obviously, games need to be played, but I find it hard to believe that these are gonna probably be the four teams that are gonna be in the mix next year for the games.
Yeah.
So yeah. So now we also, I apologize in advance. I am a little bit. I had a massive cold over the weekend, and I'm still trying to hydrate and recover. So, yeah. Yeah. So, figure we start off our list with the Anaheim Ducks. As expected, the Ducks are one of the worst teams in the league this year. The only bright spots on the squad are Leo Carlsson and Troy Terry. That's about it. Zegras is having a nightmare season and dealing with injuries. McTavish, Vetrano, Gauthier have stalled out, and Racco Gouda is only valuable as eating up penalty minutes. They were able to land Jacob Trouba because New York is a bunch of idiots. But yeah, otherwise they got nothing. Gibson's cooked, and they're leaving Lucas Dotzel to die. The harsh reality is the Ducks need to rebuild and blow it up, because
So they're so bad, I don't even know who their coach is.
yeah, I don't know who their coach is either. I don't blame you.
But whoever he is probably should be fired.
Yeah, but alas, I predict nothing's going to change, and we're going to be still on the Trail of Tears. So, yeah. So the Boston Bruins. I apologize again if I cough a ton for this. So the Boston Bruins. The first half of the Bruins season was in two arcs. It didn't start out all bad, as they finally got the Swayman deal done, though it had to be done kicking and screaming. However, once play started, it wasn't a good sign as things were kind of going off the rails. As a result, Jim Montgomery was fired and sent to the recycling bin. Since then, the Bruins have gotten back on track, but clearly showing signs of struggle. The issue isn't in Pasta, Marchand, and the other headliners, to say the least. My main concern is once again in the depth of this team. Unless you're facing Toronto, guys like Pavel Zacha, Cole Kopic, and the dead weight of Nikita Zadorov aren't going to help you. But I could be wrong, so you never know. So
I think they'll make the playoffs.
yeah, I think making the playoffs shouldn't be hard. I think getting past the second round is what I think they have to shoot for at best.
Yeah.
So the Buffalo Sabres. First, every time I think there is hope for the Sabres, they return back to delivering pain and suffering to their fan base. Tage Thompson is the equivalent of that sports car in a trailer park meme. He's the only reason people are watching this team right now. Besides him, Tuck, and maybe Zucker, nearly everything is going poorly. Buy low guys are regressing, prospects are stalling out and not developing, and Lindy Ruff is once again a terrible fit as a head coach. The end result is not just an 11-game losing streak sending you back to the basement, but also the GM making a statement that Buffalo is not a destination market, and ownership holding team meetings to preach everything is fine. I know that finding new owners in hockey isn't easy, but the Pagulas are destroying this team, man. Nearly everything is ruined, fans are frustrated, and all they can do is hope for ping pong balls at this point. I'm sorry, Buffalo fans, you deserve better than this dreck.
Yeah. Not much more to say on that.
So the Calgary Flames. The rebuild is showing a ton of progress as opposed to last year. It's honestly a blessing for the Flames following their previous 2 seasons. Head coach Ryan Huaska has been very solid in around starting to turn things around. Nazem Kadri and Jonathan Huberdeau have been able to have bounce back seasons. Matt Carano and Connor Zari look like future core contributors. Igor Sharonovich is hitting a slump, but is still producing at a solid rate. Goaltending of Dan Wolf and Don Vladar has been
It's
very good.
Dustin Wolf.
Dustin Wolf, my bad. I typed the names, my stupid ass. But yeah, pretty much keep. I just say for them, like keeping up the progress is the best thing you can do right now. So that's just the best thing. Like they're
Yeah,
progressing.
Dustin Wolf is pretty good. I think they should just build around him.
I mean, it's not a terrible plan. The Carolina Hurricanes. The start of the season was to be expected from the Canes, While they aren't the team in the Metro, they are certainly a tough opponent to go up against. Martin Hs, he was having an outstanding season, which was convenient as he was seeking a big payday. However, that won't be in Carolina, as for some reason he was traded to Colorado. In his place comes another superstar in Mikko Rantanen to be the newest member of the Surging Storms. Even with Natchez gone, Svechnikov, Aho, Jarvis, and more of Rod Brindamore's misfits have been making up a solid squad that should be playing in the postseason this year. You're the big
Definitely.
the bigger thing I'm looking at is goaltending. Due to injuries, they've had to cycle through 5 different guys, but looking more like the Pyotr Kochetkov is the best guy they have right now. The big thing is making sure that they are still healthy come playoff time and they're trying to live up to expectations. Don't fail again, guys, please. It's
Yeah.
frustrating for them.
I think they'll make it deep in the playoffs, and I hope they win the cup. They have a team that can win it, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Yeah. So the Chicago Blackhawks. I have good news for you, Chicago. You were no longer a lock for the last place in the division. What's the bad news? You were second to last for about 3 months. That's progress? Yeah, it's another year of watching Connor Bedard on a team full of nobodies. Problem is when your second best player is 28-year-old Ryan Donato, who's great player, kind of not the guy who you want as your second best player on this team. Nearly every guy picked up in the past 2 years hasn't really worked out for them. Taylor Hall, Nick Foligno, Craig Smith, Alec Martinez, Brody. The list goes on and on. I'd bring up Seth Jones, but he's been on IR for a big chunk of the year, and to be honest, we're gonna look back at that contract as one of the worst in hockey. So, and then goaltending, your goaltender is Peter Mrazek. That is all I have to say. Because of this disaster, Lucas Richardson has been fired for a placeholder in Anders Sorensen. If I'm Kyle Davison right now, I got to be honest, it's time to start panicking. He's already started to ship guys out and try and acquire more assets, but while they have a ton of prospects still on the way, his free agency moves make me question if he's the right man for this job. Bedard is literally living out the early years of the McDavid simulation in real time.
Yeah, but they have a ton of good prospects coming, so it'll take some time, but they'll be back.
Yeah, so the Colorado Avalanche. As usual, the Avs are still a playoff caliber team, especially since it isn't a season where they are being destroyed by injuries. The main core of McKinnon, McCarr, and Moore have been outstanding. Add to it with a very solid supporting cast with guys like Middlestat, Arturi Lenkinen, and others. It's a very great team. However, Colorado feels something is different this year, and they know they can make a run for it, and they're going to make a big splash for it. Martin Necas was the guy who they picked up for a huge boost to the team. While losing Rantanen will sting, you need to it's a give and take situation. So you're probably wondering how they're really not the dominant force in the Pacific in their division. Even with all the success, their goaltending situation. We're halfway through the season. season, and they have burned through 6. I repeat, 6 different netminders. The good news is that they've had recent success with Wedgwood and Blackwood, but here's the thing: Georgiev was solid until he was put on our IR. Eustace Anderson was okay, but flipped to Nashville. And then Trenton Miner was too green, and Capo Kakinen, that's not to talk about him. He was bad. The Avs were desperately need to fix their woes in nets soon. Or essentially, they fixed them for now, but they got to keep pace because they got a lot of catching up to do.
Oh, I know the perfect solution.
What?
Sidney Crosby.
Oh God, you're on this. You really think that they're gonna cause
McKinnon.
I know he loves
He
McKinnon.
loves McKinnon.
I mean, if
Look, we'll get to it, but Pittsburgh, they're going nowhere.
mhm.
Colorado, the ceiling's high.
What do you? Okay, let's be real. If you're, what would a package for Sidney Crosby look like?
Doesn't matter.
All right.
I don't know, actually.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah. So the Columbus Blue Jackets. When I was originally writing my notes for the Jackets, I was talking about how the team was kind of going through the motions. Like, you need to understand, the team lost the face of their franchise overnight due to a horrible tragedy. No one could ever thrive in these kind of circumstances. However, since we crossed from 2024 to 2025, the team has slowly started to break out and been playing with a newfound fire, up to the point where they're not just they went from basement dwellers to where they're fighting for a playoff spot now, which is impressive. You know, Kirill Marchenko has broken out into being a legit superstar. He's making the 3-year deal that they gave him at the beginning of the year look like a freaking highway robbery. You know, Ken Johnson and Adam Fantilli are finally living up to their potential they showed in Michigan. You know, backed by Zach Rowensky, Sean Monahan, and their newest Russian export, Dmitry Vorkunov, you got offense. Defense is still a bit concerning, but it's what you kind of expect from a rebuilding team. While I still question Elvis's future in Columbus, he's starting to make a rebound to up his value. However, can they keep this up is the $1,000,000 question, because I got no clue if they can. But the Metro is certainly has a spot open at the moment that is open for the taking. So all I will say is this: keep going, boys.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're on the up and up.
Yeah. So yeah, the Dallas Stars.
Not the worst team in Dallas, by the way.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, the Stars, they aren't the world beaters this year that they were the past 2 seasons, but they're still a very well-rounded unit. Duchesne, Marchand, Robertson, Heiskanen, and others make up a strong offensive attack. Main concern for me personally is their defense, as the Matt Dumba and Ilya Lyubushkin's sort of experiment has a ton left to be desired. It's not to say that the other guys haven't picked up the slack, however. The good news is that they were able to get Otter extended and to be the future in net, who has been in conversation for the Vezina this year, which, you know, maybe he can win. I don't know.
And he should get traded to Minnesota.
That too.
Because he's fat.
Yes. Trade him to Minnesota, please, because of his weight. Wait, you know, here, you know, they have already begun making improvements with Granlund and CC now part of the team, but, you know, I gotta say, like, I don't know what else there is to say about them. Like, we're gonna probably be seeing them come the postseason, so
Maybe hoisting a cup.
possibly, yeah, but you never know. Detroit. Every year it seems like a never-ending cycle with this group. This was supposed to be the years where the farm started to grow and you were back in hunting for the cup. The best analogy I have for this team is a Fabergé egg. You look on the outside, you see elite talents like Lucas Raymond, Dylan Larkin, Moritz Seider, Alex DeBrinket's revival, and other supplementing pieces of this team. But, however, what's inside this egg? God-awful goaltending and nothing on the bottom 6. Cam Talbot's cooked. Alex Lyon is regressing. Ville Husso can't stop a beach ball. And Sebastian Cossa is now finally starting to get his shot. As a result, the team's struggling. Derek Lalonde has been thrown into the head coaching recycling bin for Todd McClellan. Cleland, who is hopefully going to fix this mess. They have been getting a little better, but I don't know how long they can keep this up. Because I've been the biggest Stevie defender for the longest time, but this is not looking good for him. He's a great player and a legend in that city, but his time as GM has not been favorable to him.
But it's on the up and up. If he makes the playoffs this year, it'll help keep the fire from burning worse. But
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So now the one that I know you'll be excited to get to, the Edmonton Oilers. Last year's bitter defeat has not really slowed down the Oilers in the slightest. The usual suspects of McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Bouchard, Nugent Hopkins, and Ekholm are holding serve. Main concern, however, is there's not much else really supplementing the team in terms of depth. Evander Kane has been on IR a lot of the year, and the guys they use to try and replace Broberg and Holloway haven't really panned out. The good news is that you at least don't have to worry about goaltending, as Stuart Skinner has still picked up his elite form from last year, and Pickard's been a nice backup. However, the depth, I'd say they need to get busy at the deadline. So, best advice is Stan Bowman, you got to work some magic, and no, that does not mean bringing in your buddies from Chicago. So, yeah.
Yeah.
So the Florida Panthers, the defending Cup champions, are rolling along as one of the top teams in the Atlantic as usual. Well, there really isn't much to go over. Like the lineup of Kachuk, Reinhart, Bennett, Barkov, and the freshly extended Carter Verhaeghe are still dominating. Even better that Spencer Knight is back to help tag team with Sergei Bobrovsky. Besides maybe shaking up their depth, adding some grit, or acquiring a rental, like they should be ready to go come playoff time. Where they can go, how far they go, that's still to be determined, essentially.
Yeah, they'll make it far. They're going to be one of the teams in the East.
Yeah.
So.
All right, the LA Kings. The Kings on paper are a quality squad for the regular season. There is no denying that. Kopitar has been a beast this year, supplemented by Adrian Kempe, Alex Lafreniere, Kevin Fiala, and more. Backed by the quality defense they have, they make up one of the better units in hockey, even with the chaos and net behind them. So David Riddick has been okay, but nowhere near his old self. Same with Phoenix Copley, but shockingly enough, the best guy they have is Darcy Kemper, which beats me why he's suddenly found his old form, but whatever. Big thing that isn't selling me on them is just it's the same script as last year. Like, they got to show me come playoff time that they can't go one and done again. Otherwise it's just going to be the same. It's my big reason why I'm skeptical on them. So,
Yeah, I don't know what to make of the Kings. So.
yeah. So now, finally, the one that a lot of people are waiting for, Minnesota. Honestly, I said it, I had little expectations going into this year, but suddenly they're exceeding them, essentially. The top six has been flourishing. The defense has been rock solid. Everything is thriving except for the penalty kill. Kirill, the big thing right now is they've been dealing with a lot of injuries because Kirill's been out and he's going to probably not be back till March. However, a lot of the guys are still picking up in the slack, like Boldy, Faber. Rossi has finally proven he's not a bust. Philip Gustafson's had a very nice bounce back year, but I think realistically, they just need to get back to full strength. Because I got to be real, John Hines, he's done a great job with the team so far, even though people have doubts about him. But
Yeah.
I think realistically, I want your thoughts.
I mean, it's, what's the word? They needed a change at coach, and they got that, and then now it's doing wonders. But we'll have to see what this offseason has.
Yeah, 'cause
there'll be a lot of money to spend. And
Yeah.
Kaprizov needs an extension.
I feel like that's going to be priority one before because I feel like even though he's had to deal with injuries this year, you can't lose him. He's too important to this team, and then I figured Do you think they're going big game hunting this offseason? Because now that we're almost out of the pre-Saint Suter buyouts. Like, what are you going to do with all the cap space?
Possibly.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, it definitely will be interesting to see. So, Montreal. It's honestly been like another rough year for the Canadians, but but it's kind of what it is. They're in a Thunderdome division, and they're still trying to rebuild. Because besides Slavkovsky, Suzuki, Caulfield, and a few other guys, there really hasn't been much of anything. Sam Montembolt hasn't really been the answer they were looking for in net. I understand that they still have a ton of talent on the way, but red flags are really starting to pop up with this team. It really did, because looking back, it's just like I keep saying it, like going all in 2020 was boom or bust, and the ramifications of going all in just were deadly for this team.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're almost there, but it's just a tough division.
All right, the Nashville Predators. Pardon my French, but what the actual... I had major concerns about Nashville's offseason moves, but in no way, shape, or form did I expect this. They aren't just collapsing, they are being sent to the shadow realm, on pace for one of the worst seasons in franchise history. You signed Steven Stamkos, who has been a massive disappointment for the contract he got. Same goes for Marchessault, Chiquet, and many of the other names that they picked up. Roman Josi is struggling to break out. Saros is literally being whacked with a crowbar every night when he's put in the net. This team is literally just, here's the thing. I hate to say it, but Barry Trotz made a massive mistake in this offseason. Because essentially, you think about it, team's locked up long term and is literally a raging dumpster fire that is not getting put out anytime soon. The only thing on the Preds' minds right now is a glorious tank. And God, Jesus, Joe, I want your thoughts, because I know you said
I thought they were fine in the offseason.
Yeah, no, you thought this team was going to be good. What are your thoughts?
It's a struggle. It's just year one.
Struggle's putting the...
They'll get a high pick, and then he'll join, and then they'll be better.
All right. That's putting it lightly. So, moving on. The New Jersey Devils. Now, this is the type of group the Devils were supposed to be advertised as last year, which helps because the only significant injuries that have occurred this year are to Curtis Lazard and Markstrom for like a few weeks. Under Sheldon Keefe, the Devils have broken into one of the premier teams in the Metros. When your top line boasts stars like Jack Hughes, Nico Hischier, Jesper Bratt, Timo Meyer, and Stefan Noesen, you can pretty much do anything. Add to it with a suffocating defense with a healthy Dougie Hamilton, Brett Pesce, and the youngest Hughes brother, Luke, all pretty much kicking ass. Heck, even Jacob Markstrom has been able to discover the old form after being freed from Calgary, obviously when he's not injured. Like, while they sit comfortably in the top seed in the Metro, like, their rivals are keeping pace with them. So, best thing I can say is just keep it up, because they're on the right track. They're probably one of the... I will say this, they're my dark horse team to go all the way this year, just because I feel like they're a team that I feel like on paper they can match up well with anyone.
Yeah, I don't know if they're there yet, but they're close.
Mm-hmm. The New York Islanders, like, are we honestly surprised that the Islanders are bad in the division? Lou Lamoriello spent more time napping in the offseason than fixing the team around him. Besides Anders Lee, Kyle Palmieri, and Bo Horvat, there's little firepower on the team. The defense is terrible, and Ilya Sorokin is being fed to the wolves out there. I understand the prestige Lou has, but he is way past his expiration date in New York. Literally, the only thing he has done this year is sign Tony DeAngelo, which I don't know why he keeps getting jobs, but he does. Unless this team somehow pulls a Nosferatu and starts drawing blood from a stone, they're in trouble. Do they pull the shoot or go bold at the deadline is my $1 million question.
They've actually made some trades to shore up the defense for injuries.
Who have they traded for?
Like Scott Perunovich.
Oh, yeah, your boy Perunovich, so.
And some couple other trades and signed DeAngelo.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like they're trying to compete for the playoffs.
Yeah, I mean, doesn't shock me. So the New York Rangers, the Islanders have an excuse that they simply just don't have the roster. What's this team's excuse? This season's been a massive disaster for the Rags, laced with drama and calamity. One of the on top of like numerous employees that have been mysteriously let go within the organization, the on ice product is regressing. Panarin and Fox are okay, but Zibanejad has fallen off after an extension. Will Cully is broken out, but it doesn't help when Alexis Lafreniere is not living up to his potential once again. What's even worse is that they are starting to ship out core pieces instead of solving issues. Jacob Truva got into it with the team so badly they stripped him of the captaincy and exiled him to Anaheim. Same goes for Capo Caco, who was traded to Seattle for a middling return. By the way, he's been awesome for them and like getting a point per game. Well, it's good you paid Shesty all that money. Well, it's good you paid Shizjorkin all that money. It's not helping. But don't worry, guys. Help is on the way. JT Miller is back. Team is consistently losing. Peter Laviolette is on a searing hot seat, and the team wants Chris Drury impaled on a pike outside Times Square. New York is in deep trouble, and I honestly don't know how you fix this, Joe.
You don't. You just watch it, and then you enjoy it.
Pretty much. That's all we're doing.
Big market teams.
Yeah. The Ottawa Senators. So you mean to tell me that the Sens aren't a punching bag this year? They actually have a decent team and are holding a playoff spot? Okay, impressive. The talent in Ottawa is starting to show signs of legit progress unlike previous years. Stützle, Brady Tkachuk, Drake Batherson, and Josh Norris have all been contributing pieces. Adam Gaudette, Nick Cousins, Nick Jensen, and Thomas Chabot have been complementary pieces to that core. Add to it is that, they actually have a real netminder after doing several different experiments that failed. Speaking of which, Allmark was given a very big payday raise before the season, and his performance has been so much worth the contract he's getting. Do I think they have the power to get over the hump this year? Maybe not, but the fact that they're finally showing signs of legitimacy is wonderful.
If they can make the playoffs, that's a win.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I definitely think that would be their just getting to the playoffs, and maybe winning a playoff game. That would just be enough for this year's progress.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So the Philadelphia Flyers. Last year's surge for the Flyers seems to have tapered off a bit, but it's not for any bad reasons. Mainly because Philly lacks an actual good netminder between the pipes. Regardless, progress is starting to take massive strides as they continue to rebuild. Matvei Mishkov, man, that dude is everything that Philly has been advertised. Speed, skill, and superstar prowess that is only going to get better since he's only a teenager right now. So, as long as he's backed with Konechny and Owen Tippett, he should be good. Getting Andrei Kuzmenko from Vancouver is a good start, but it's going to take a lot more to really get this team up and going again.
Yeah, I like where the Flyers are, though.
Yeah, they definitely have a bright future. I think they just need time. So, yeah.
This team's a disaster.
Oh, yeah. The Pittsburgh Penguins. I get that they're currently technically still fighting for a playoff spot, but I'm not sold on this squad. The issue isn't Crosby. That dude is somehow aging in reverse and still kicking butt.
He's going to Colorado.
Yeah, it's everything else on the team that's an issue for the Pens. Malkin's falling off due to age. Erik Karlsson's their new whipping boy, and one of the best skaters that this team has right now is 31-year-old Rickard Rakell. Tristan Jarry has also been struggling because they keep blowing leads left and right. Even if they're still in the race, the best case scenario for this team is they somehow drunkenly stumble into the playoffs and they get their asses kicked.
Or again, Crosby to Colorado.
Here's the thing, that could be a possibility.
And then hear me out. Malkin to Washington.
Okay, Joe, I get what you're saying, but here's the thing. I feel do you really think the GM, Kyle Dubas, the GM there, he's really got he's really going to risk his own career trading away two of the key pillars in
Do
Pittsburgh.
you think Crosby and Malkin want to win another cup?
That's much to be desired. So, yeah. I mean, here's the thing. Like, I'll
Because
say,
here's the thing: they're not going to do it in Pittsburgh.
yeah. No, I feel like it. I feel like at this point, if they get traded, it wouldn't shock me. But I'd say it really depends on what they want to do. Like maybe they want to continue retire as Pens. So,
Or maybe he wants to play with Mason McKinnon.
yeah. All right. All right. I believe you. So, the San Jose Sharks. It's a touch better than last season. That's all I can really say about the Sharks.
No. Here's what it is. They're still last, but there's hope.
Yes, that's exactly. They're still rebuilding, but they have a ton of issues. But there are at least bright spots of the season. Macklin, Salbrini, and Will Smith are still trying to develop. Zetterlund is proving to be a future piece of the core, and Tyler Toffoli's actually living up to his contract. Goaltending is also a work in progress as Askarov has finally been brought up to start getting actual minutes in the show. Even further progress, they're still kind of beginning to retool, getting to ship guys out because Granlund and CC are gone. Regardless, I'd say just like you said, they suck, but there's hope. All right, it's just gonna take time. So yeah. The Seattle Kraken. I honestly don't know what to make of the Seattle saddle this far into their life cycle. I get that it takes time, but it just feels like things have been really hitting roadblocks. Jared McCann and Oliver Bjorkstrand are still quality players as the team tries to continue developing the likes of Matty Beniers and Shane Wright. But, getting a buy low candidate in Capo Caco is a nice start, but I just really don't know because especially their goaltending situation. The Philip Grubauer contract turned out to be an albatross, but thankfully Decord's been given an extension to actually become the full-time starter. While they're skittish at times, like maybe they can get a squeak in as the fourth seed, but I really don't know if they can capitalize on it.
Yeah, I think they still need to make some improvements, but I like where they're at right now.
Yeah, like the big
They have
thing is,
pieces.
but aside from the Grubauer contract, they're not locked into any crippling long-term deals. Like that's the big thing with them.
Yeah.
So the St. Louis Blues. The Blues are truly living up to their namesake this year, sadly. Injuries have destroyed half the lineup, including their prize acquisitions in Broberg and Holloway. Everything's just really went haywire for them, and while it's not necessarily Drew Bannister's fault, he was sadly not spared once Jim Montgomery became available. So the Blues have been playing a little better since he's been the head coach, but realistically, this team is Jordan Kyrou, Jake Neighbors, Robert Thomas, and their ever temperamental Jordan Binnington. Speaking of which, he's fallen off a cliff. Sorry, Blues, but I think it might be time to start punching in the launch codes because this team, I don't even think you can get to the playoffs with this team. So,
Yeah. They need to make some improvements.
yeah. The Tampa Bay Lightning. It appears that Tampa's demise was heavily exaggerated on my part. To be fair, when you boast the core of Point, Kucherov, Hedman, and more, you're always going to be in the mix of the heavy hitters. The signing of Jake Gensel is the perfect filling for Steven Stamkos. While the Ryan McDonough trade still waiting for the results, there is one glaring issue. Backup goaltending. They need one badly. As much as it's fun, you can't always bank on 30-year-old Andrei Vasilevsky to go God mode every night. Jonas Johansson is his backup. That's pretty much all that needs to be said. Otherwise, keep up the work, Tampa. They're definitely going to be looking to try and go for another cup this time around.
Yeah, they got the core to do it.
Yeah. So the Toronto Blue Jays, or the Toronto Maple Leafs, all right? I'm sorry, I'm focused on baseball coming up soon, which I got to get ready for. We know the drill with Toronto. As usual, dominant regular season. The Toronto Big Three supplemented by quality depth. While they hit a hiccup by losing Max Domi and Max Pacioretty for a bit, they're back into fueling the machine. Even better, the duo of Justin Wall and Anthony Stellares in net has been over the top exceptional. However, for the longest time, we all know what the true objectives are here. They come in the spring, especially with Marner likely gone and Tavares. What John Tavares' future with the team is. So we will see come postseason time.
Yeah, it's cup or bust for them.
Yeah, essentially at this point, I feel like it has to be because Marner ain't coming back. We all know that. So yeah. Now the Utah Hockey Club. The inaugural season in Salt Lake City has been going well so far. While the team is still in the middle of the pack, the young core is starting to show blossoms. Clayton Keller is performing on the level to be expected, and Dylan Gunther has broken out and been given a nice contract extension. However, it's mostly a year where they are still playing with zero expectations and house money. It's more or less a year where they're still trying to develop the future core and pretty much start welcoming fans into the arena, like you mentioned at the beginning of the year. I will say, though, you might need a goaltender. Karl Michkova is woof. That's all I'll say. Yeah.
Velmaki.
Yeah, Velmakia. Sorry. I don't speak Swedish, okay? All right.
It's not Swedish, I think.
Oh. And I just pissed someone off. All right, great. So Vancouver. Last year's surge has been going haywire. Figured they would be higher up in the standings after last year, especially as of late they had been tapering off drastically and fast. The team itself is no issue, even though JT Miller had to take a leave of absence and was eventually traded. So Quinn Hughes is a monster. Brock Besser is rebounding from his blood clots, and Jake DeBrusk is actually looking to be a solid piece to the team. However, the main cog to Vancouver is the two-headed monster in net, as Kevin Lankinen and Thatcher Demko have been very, very good this year. However, even for their success, I still have concerns about them because obviously we mentioned how Miller was shipped out. JT Miller was shipped out because Menko got a one-way trip to Philly, and rumors are still flying around Elias Pettersson's
He's
future.
off the trade.
What?
He's off the block right now.
Oh, he's off the block? I thought they were still looking
They
shop.
just said that he's not getting traded this year.
Okay, so yeah. When Jim Rutherford is taking a break from bingo to critique this team, pretty much essentially, I don't know what happens now with this team. Like, what do you make of this situation, Joe?
As I feel like they just need to retool it. They just need, as long as they keep Pettersson and Quinn Hughes, they'll be fine. They just needed what?
Oh, so you're saying Pettersson and Hughes are probably what you're looking at. So that's assuming Besser's gone at the end of the year.
I mean, there's a chance.
Yeah,
look, if there's two people you need to keep, well, probably three. It's Hughes, Pettersson, Demko.
Yeah, I like Brock, but I think he might be hitting the open market. So.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. All right, the Vegas Golden Knights. Following last season's Cup hangover, the Pacific once again runs through the Sin City. A team with a strong offense, vacuum-sealed defense, and devastating power play is what you really expect from this. When you boast a squad with Jack Eichel, Ivan Barbashev, Mark Stone, and the freshly extended Shea Theodore,
who is injured now and might not make it back for the playoffs.
Yep, who I was just about to get to that. You're still expected to get results. The goaltending has prospered with Aiden Hill as your starter and Ilya Samsonov as his replacement. While it's still early and a ton of hockey left to play, Vegas has their eyes on the prize. Once again, winning once is nice. You always got to itch for that another one, though. So
yeah, I think they'll be in the mix.
Mm-hmm. Yes. So the Washington Capitals, and the award for how the hell did this team get so good goes to Washington. A team I had serious questions about their future has turned it around like a light switch. With not only winning but outright thriving. I guess I don't know, man. The Capitals have found the spark from years past and have been on fire this year. year. Dylan Strome is on pace to having a career season. The youngsters in Elise and Alexi Protos and Cade McMichael are developing. Heck, even Pierre-Luc Dubois is living up to his potential and being a key piece to this team. And who could forget about Ovechkin, the ageless wonder still seeking to break that goal record when he's not being struck down by a leg injury, which I forget. He's like, I think, 17 or something away from the record right now, or
I think so.
yeah.
But don't worry. Once he gets Malkin, it's going to be all good.
Yeah. Yeah. Goaltending has mostly been the Logan Thompson role with Charlie Lindgren in the backup position. Do I think they can keep this up? No idea, but at the very least they're showing signs of a pulse and that they're actually trying, as opposed to last year where it was the power of friendship.
Yeah.
All right. So the Winnipeg Jets. This has really been a year where a lot of teams this was a team that I had doubts about, and they're making me eat my crow, essentially. The Jets came out to the gate firing on all cylinders, starting out like 15-1 and holding the top spot in the Central. Kyle Connor in a contract year has been outstanding. Mark Scheifele is another key piece. Even Nino Niederreiter's off to a solid start. If you somehow manage to get past the lockdown defense, bad news. Connor Hellebuck is back to playing God mode again and making a case to add another Vezina to his shelf. However, even for this stretch, I still kind of have my doubts about the team. I don't know why. Not because I think they're bad, but I think they just need to show that they need to show this come April, which they haven't really been showing in the past. So that's the main objective for them.
Yeah, they could be a team that goes deep in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah. So now I figured, winding down, I'm pulling up the standings right now, thinking of predictions. For the Atlantic, I'd say Panthers are still going to probably be in there as the number 1 seed. Toronto as well, and Tampa. I'd say for me right now, it's a tie between the Ottawa Senators and the Detroit Red Wings for who gets that 4th spot. And I'd say if I were a betting man, maybe Ottawa. I think they got a shot. So, yeah. Metro, I'd say it's pretty cut and dry at the right moment. I think Caps, Canes, Devils, and I do think the Blue Jackets will be in the mix because I look at the 4 other teams. Philly is not ready yet. Pittsburgh's probably going to be selling off, and the Islanders and Rangers are both a mess right now. So, yeah. What do you think about the Atlantic and Metro?
I think Toronto would be 1, Florida 2, Tampa 3, and then I think both Ottawa and Detroit makes it, and then the 3 teams of the Capitals, Hurricanes, and Devils will be the Metro.
Okay, I can understand that. So moving over to the West, I think Jets, Stars, and Avs will all be in there, and I think Minnesota has enough to make it, assuming they can get healthy in the spring.
I think those 4 teams are the lock to make it in the Central.
Yeah, I definitely think that those are the teams. Now, the Pacific's a little bit muddled at the moment. I do think Oilers, Knights, and Kings will all be in there. But, here's the thing. I think that 4th spot could be open. I'd say right now you're looking at either Vancouver or maybe even Calgary taking that. Because
it's going to be one of those 2 teams.
Yeah, because I think maybe just Vancouver because they have the more experienced team. But if they're really probably going to be looking to shop at the deadline, then maybe I don't know.
Yeah, I agree with that.
So, yeah. Joe, thank you so much again for coming me on. So, thank you guys so much for watching, and we will see you next time. Peace.